won a pretty major contest that has pretty much catapulted you pretty far. Could you tell us a little bit about that whole thing?
Catapult is a strong word. I won the Nickel Fellowship. Is kind of like the amateur Oscars for screenwriting. It's a contest offered by the Motion Picture Academy, or the Oscars people, that they pick 5 amateur writers every year, or 5 scripts out of an entry pool that last year was 6,700 scripts, probably more this year. So they'll pick 5, and then they give those people like a $35,000 award in order to kind of help them write. Basically, it's the money is to help you quit your day job for a year and just focus on writing. That was the original conception. The good news is these days, like, it's prestigious enough that when this happens to you, you immediately get a manager and agent. So I now have a manager and agent after 7 years of trying. Just basically overnight, I got a manager and agent and started taking meetings, with people on movies. And right now, I'm, working on a TV show with the studio. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to talk about that or not, but so you kind of go from nothing to a little bit of something, basically overnight, after 7 years of trying for me. So I have had a little bit of success. Really, it's only enough success to make you realize you want more success. It was an appetizer of success for me. But it's been a good 6 months, that's for sure. In
terms of you saying like that appetizer of success and getting that manager and agent and things like that, having been able to, I guess you at least say, get into the first floor of everything, what has been the change going from just complete independent writer to now seeing, oh, okay, this is how more of the business works?
What has been the change, the biggest change? The thing that you don't see, well, one thing that writers tend to do, and it's a mistake, is they tend to work completely alone. They tend to just be these sort of lone wolves. And I think that's a mistake, A, because you don't get the benefit of other people's input, which really you need it, especially from other people who are as committed as you are to being in this industry. You need to be surrounded by people who also care, who also you respect their talent, your passion. And as soon as you get a little bit of success, suddenly you are surrounded by people. Like I don't write for myself. I'm writing for producers. I'm writing for executives. I'm writing, I have my managers in the picture. I have my agents. I have all these people have input in what I write, and I want their input in what I write because, they all want to succeed. Every single person who calls me to offer their opinions, they're doing it because they're hoping, A, to make a tremendous amount of money off my talent, and which I want them to do, by the way, because the only way they make money is if I made money too. And B, because they want to make something that's good. So you have a community supporting you, and it's actually good to have all these people, talking things out, and that you're working with. But that is a huge change, and I think if you've been living, in like Alaska, just writing and not talking to other human beings, that'll be a big change when you, triumphantly try and move to LA to do all this stuff. The other thing I think is that I am really, really glad I never quit. I'm really, really glad. I know people who were more emotionally healthy than me, and because they were better off emotionally, they were able to quit, and it was probably the right thing they could do. I was always the one who was too crazy to stop, even when it was obviously a good idea. Because as my father said when I was probably 26, anyone who can quit the arts should. He's right. If you can quit, you should. If you can be equally happy as a plumber or a writer, be a plumber. Plumbers make tons of money. The okay plumbers get paid, and do just fine, and they'll buy a house, and raise a family, and love life as a plumber. As a writer, the competition is so intense, you have to love it. It has to sustain you every day. And it kind of does for me, or I was always more intense than every other writer that I knew. And I'm really, really glad that I never honestly even thought about quitting. It's much easier to work hard now that people are kind of, waiting on, I actually got a call with my producer later today. I probably should have called him yesterday. I'm bad. But, yeah, I'll tell my producer I was sorry I was doing an interview. But, it really helps you just stay focused and just go at it and just be a 24/7 about it, and be as committed to it as you can possibly be, because the people who have written more and who have worked harder and who just can't imagine not getting better are the people who get better, and if you're look, I am obsessed. And if you want to be a writer, you got to compete with me for those jobs. And so you better be just as obsessed as I am, or I'm going to take your money, buddy. I'm going to take that job from you because I want it, because I love it. So good luck. I wish you the best. I really do, because I love great writers and I love talented people. But you better come ready, because there are people who their lives are about this. There are people, I know guys who are successful now. They just start selling things, and basically all they do is go out, eat expensive dinners in Hollywood, and talk about writing, because they don't know what to do with their money, because writing's their whole life. Again, not saying that that's an emotionally healthy way to live, but boy, you better be ready for that if you want to be a writer.
On the descent, for our final last questions, if people want to get in contact with you, to hire you as a writer, to consult with you or whatever, how can they find you?
I'm so excited to say this. First of all, they can call my agent. How can people get in contact with me? They can call my agent, for starters. That's normally what you say. Hey, I am busy. Right now, I am writing full-time. I have projects in the fire, so right now, in order to hire me as a writer, you got to pay me, which is an awesome thing for me to be able to say. I'm cheap still, so...
Give me while I'm cheap.
Yeah, give me while I'm cheap. Exactly, give me while I'm cheap. So
to all the other screenwriters and artists and the mini Matt Murphy out there, what are your words of advice to them?
If you can quit, you should quit. If you can honestly imagine a life where you're not doing this, where you're happy, then you should probably do that. If you would rather fail as a writer, if you would rather live your entire life failing as a writer, never getting what you think is your due, than doing anything else, then you should do it. That's the test. If you're not willing to be a failure, then don't do this, because that's how much fun it is for the ones who succeed. The people who succeed are so into this that they'll happily fail at it for the rest of their life. Not happily. They're willing to do that if that's what it takes. That's the kind of intensity it takes. So honestly, look at yourself and say, if the answer is yes, then great, keep doing it, and I look forward to meeting you, and I look forward to seeing your work. I really do.